Continuing our 2017 coverage of Super Street Bike drag racing here at Santa Pod, we're at the FIM main event for round 2 of the FIM Drag Bike European Cup Series, and a big field of top European competitors will certainly shake up the action. Well, at the last ACU round here at Santa Pod, Race, Rock and Ride, it was Rick Stubbins who took the win from Graham Balchin.
At the last meeting, I was taking power out, trying to get the bike to work. I think this coming weekend, I'm just going to go all in. It should hold everything I can throw at it, I think.
Yes, we're in 704 in Hungary. I already went 699 in Malta, so try to go for a 69 here as well at Santa Pod Raceway.
We went to Hungary, did the first round, qualified third. Fortunately, we went out in second round due to a spin in third gear. But went good. Pleased with the upgrades that we did for this year. So looking quite forward to this weekend.
And heading into qualifying, it's not just the international competitors hoping to do well this weekend.
Bike is going great so far. I've had a lot of help from my mate J-Ro and Graham Balchin, who, if Graham doesn't know anything about Kawasaki's, nobody does. I'd like to qualify, yes. If I did, that'd be a bonus, but I've already achieved what I wanted to do by getting a personal best, so anything on top of that's a bonus.
Eddy Smiley, running Super Street Bike on a Suzuki Hayabusa Turbo. Personal best is 7.6 seconds at the moment. It's tight at the top, yeah, we've got a low bump spot this year, so I think last year was a 7.86. We were just within the top 16 last year, so.
Well, with a total of 4 qualifiers scheduled and 19 riders competing for a 16 bike elimination, we should be set for some really fast runs over the weekend. So, just how quick is a super street bike? Phil Pratt has raced his own 8-second bike, Satan's Lady, for some years, winning many events in the process. That's him in the far lane. Well, a couple of years ago, he got the chance to ride Gary Bowles' old super street bike at the SPRC Summer Nationals, and in the process, recording his first ever 7-second pass. So what exactly was it like?
It was an eye-opener, and how those guys do it, I just don't know. I can't comprehend what it's like to run a 6 at, 212 miles an hour with no wheelie bars. I don't know. I mean, I went 791, and for me, it was you're almost a passenger, even at that. So, I don't know. I don't know what they have for breakfast, or, ready break, 3 Weetabix. I'm not sure, but wow. On my bike, it's like the excitement's to the 330 or the 8, but on that it just pulls and pulls and pulls and pulls until you close the throttle. And I mean, it was oscillating, twitching, my backside was off the seat. It was, yeah, that's why it still makes me smile every time I think about it. It's cool. It's a memory that will stay with me forever, for sure.
So, jumping into qualifying at Q3 in front of huge crowds here at Santa Pod, and a special thanks to Greenlight TV for the on-track footage here. First up, we have Dave Thomas in the Auto Glim lane and Mark Hope in the Cold Fire lane on the far side of the racetrack. up to the stripe they go, and crossing. 7.83s for both riders, and that's a huge personal best for Dave, just what he wanted. Gemma Venables right lane, we have Matthias Bolin left lane. A 7.39 for Matthias and a 7.73 for Gemma. Steve Venables right lane, Rick Stubbins left lane. These two both very quick bikes. Improvement there for Steve with a 7.31, and a great 7.15 puts Rick within a couple of hundredths of Gary Bow's 7.13 from Q2. Graham Balchin taking on Italy's Rudy Zorzi next, and Graham wheeling down most of the track. That's a 7.56 at the stripe for Graham and a 7.44 for Rudy. And the final pair of this session, Pete Field in the left lane, Daniel Donat-Lentz in the right lane. Pete means business on this one, and a 7.14 puts him into second place at the moment.
Yeah, we're very pleased with that. Tricky track. The wind's gone off from yesterday because it was horrible. So we risked something. It was either going to work or go skyward, but it's worked.
A lot more comfortable on the bike. Due to the settings that are in it, we've just turned all the boost off and just getting it on two wheels and straight.
No, it's like anything, you know, we're sort of like, it's, you go forwards, then you go backwards, and then you think you're getting there, and then, you know, we had a shifting problem, you know, the track caught us out on the first pass. We're getting the data. The last pass was better, but we still need to add some more power to it, I think, and then I think the next pass you might see quite a jump.
We run an air clutch on this bike, which my bike was the first one to have one, and there's only a couple of others doing it, but it operates in a different way to what the other guys have mechanical clutches, which are kind of locked up as it's going down the track, whereas mine, if we have a difficult track where it's tending to spin the tyre when it shifts gear, we've got the advantage that we can let a little bit of air pressure off the clutch and let the clutch slide slip, for want of a better word, let the clutch slip a little bit so as it doesn't spin the tyre. But the downside of that is that every pass we come back, even in elimination runs, which makes it really tight for time, I have to take the clutch out, check every plate, measure it, put it back in exactly as it is, so as we get the consistency on every run we do. So yeah, it's time consuming and it's costly with clutch plates, but how fast do you want to go? If you take notice, when we pull up to the line, it seems like there's a lot of running about going on, but my son David, he's actually on the start line looking for the grippiest place, and my technical man Brad, he's walking backwards forwards. David feeds back to him, yeah, that track will take a full hit. So he comes back to me before I even get in the burnout box, and he'll say, right, you need to get over the front, you need to maybe not just transfer, because it's all about weight transfer, maybe don't be quite as low as what you could be. The green box down on the side here, which I have two on this bike, the top one's the latest one we use operating the clutch off, and the second one operates the turbo system. These here give it this 1 to 5, which gives you 5 different tune-ups. So number 1 can be a 6.9 tune-up, number 2 would be a 7.0, or what, and we just program different ones. When we get to the start line, when Brad tells me how good the track is, he'll click it onto whatever number he thinks the track will take, and he'll just basically say, you know, this is going to go 6.9 here, you better hang on. And we have different throttle positions as well, which is linked into these to give different levels of boost. So when we're on the line, we basically have the clutch into the stop, and if you watch the lights, you'll see as you pull the throttle back, that one there is quite a soft 60 foot, and if we think the track will hold it, we wind it on there, we get an even harder launch, and if we wind it onto there, it puts even more power in, that one would run a 122 60 foot, good enough for a 6.9 run, and if it was even better than that, we put that light out and we've got more or less full throttle. So, and as we're sitting on the line with it like that, when the lights change, we just basically ping the clutch out, and it goes through its sequence, and it counts through these timers, and it's putting power in all the way, and feeding the clutch in and out as it goes to control the power and to control wheel spin. Every time it sees 12.5, 13,000 revs or whatever we have it programmed for, every time that light comes on, I just press that horn button and it goes through the sequence. It automatically changes gear itself. I don't think a lot of the other guys have got the adjustability that we have on this bike, but this is why possibly on a bad track we can run really quick on a marginal track, and it's because of the adjustability that we have on it that it allows us to do that.
You can't just go all in on the start line, no matter how much power you got. It's all about setting up progressively. It's a balancing act. The trick is to get as much power in as quick as you can without the bike misbehaving, i.e. wheeling. Well, particularly if the track's good, you're more fighting wheelies than you are fighting spin. But it's down to the skill of the rider to feed back the information to the crew, to do the tune-up. And it's not down to who's got the most power, it's who can make the most of it.
Into Q4 then here at Santa Pod. And a wild wheeling ride for Franklin Borg on board the Malta Busa. Mogenslund from Denmark in the left lane, Rick Stubbins in the right lane on the ProTech racing bike. And up to the stripe they go. And Rick takes number 1 spot from Gary Bow with his 7.09 stunning 200 miles an hour runs in both lanes there. Steve Venables left lane, Pete Field in the right lane. And Ven's getting back to form. Pete staying in number 2 spot for the moment. These ETs and speeds we're seeing are pretty stunning. And the final pair, Daniel Donalentz in the left lane, Gary Bow in the right lane. And up they go. With Gary taking the number 1 spot back from Rick Stubbins. And it's a great team and family effort for Gary.
The effort and work that goes into this bike at home. You know, we're constantly taking engines out, and if you haven't got your wife behind you, you're just asking for trouble right from the word go. And if you include I would say this to anyone who's thinking of getting into the sport, the best thing you could possibly do for any of these young lads that's getting into it is make sure you include your family, your kids, you know, and they're all coming down here this weekend and it's a big family thing for me. Son-in-law William, my daughter Joanne, youngest granddaughter Jasmine, oldest granddaughter Amelia. This is David, crew chief and son. This is his girlfriend Kate with the next grandchild in there, and my wife Diana, who's all part of the team.
So the qualifying list after the final run, and success stories all round. Dave Thomas not only ran a PB but also managed to qualify for the 16 bike field.
Yes, it's far by exceeded my expectations. I've had 4 personal bests. I'm not at the bottom of the field, so yes, very pleased.
And for the Nielsen's, Robert qualified 5th and Bianca got back out on track on a borrowed bike after a nasty fall in testing.
It's a nice event, but yeah, I hope that could go better, but for this time it's okay. Yeah.
Are we going to see you back here again in the future?
I hope so.
You're the half of the team, number 5 qualifier though.
Yes, I'm number 5, and yeah, I'm satisfied with that. I nearly do my PB in yesterday. I have driven 7:21.4, but this was 7:21.8, so nearly.
Well, unfortunately, a gear shifter breakage on the borrowed bike meant a missed qualifier for Bianca, but at least she's unhurt and in as an alternate. So looking at the round 1 pairings, and it's looking good going into eliminations for Rick Stubbins.
Yeah, it was good. I was really happy with that, and I sort of half expected Gary to put something in there, but yeah, that's what turned out. Yeah, thanks.
But it's so close now that really you wouldn't want to put any money on who's going to win, would you?
No, that's it. The top 4 are really tight, so it can go any which way. It's only a reaction time difference.
Without giving anything away, obviously it was warm, it was sticky yesterday. This morning it's a little bit damp in the air and it's cold. it's going to be very different on track. How are you going to actually handle that? Are you going to throw the same at it or be very, very conservative?
No, I'm going to be conservative now and race the rounds, race the opponent properly.
Okay, so number one qualifier, you've obviously got the tune sorted out for qualifying. Have you got your ideas on what's going into eliminations?
Yeah, I think we've got a good handle on it. I think we'll do okay.
And eliminations, confident?
100%. Got a good team behind me. It's all worked out. As always, yeah, we're up for it.
First round of eliminations. A Hungarian matchup now. Daniel Donat-Lentz against first alternate Christian Yass in the right lane. He's in because of damage for Graham Balchin's bike. Daniel pulling away from half track to win with a 7.28 against a 7.92. Gemma Venables left lane, Mogens Lund in the right lane. Mogen qualified fourth with a 7.20, so a hard race for Gemma in 11th spot. Well, Mogen has it right from the start, taking the win with a 7.24 to an improving 7.64 for Gemma. Rudy Zorzi in the left lane. Robert Nilsson in the right lane. Rudy has the better qualifying time here. But a wheelie from him and Robert sneaking past. And takes the win with a 7.28 to a 7.54. Ed Smiley left lane against number 2 qualifier Rick Stubbins. 2 UK riders in this one. And no mistakes from Rick, taking the win with a 7.14 against a losing 7.93 for Ed. In the replay we see Ed lifting the front wheel, Rick's bike hooked and went. Matthias Spolin in the left lane, Steve Venables in the right lane with that huge smoky burnout. Both ran 7.2s in qualifying. It's a better start line reaction for Steve there, and he holds the lead to take it with a great 7.18 against a losing 7.55. Dave Thomas in the right lane, taking on number 3 qualifier Pete Field. Well, Dave said he was happy to have qualified well, and this will be a really hard race for him. Even off the line, but Pete's got a bit of a wobble going on. And he's off the power, so Dave takes the win with an easy-looking PB, 7.76. The man from Llanelli's dream weekend continues. Franklin Borg in the right lane, Bianca Nilsson in the left lane. Bianca in as a second alternate after damage to Anders Blank's bike. And Franklin off like a scalded cat. Bit of a wheelie at half track slows him, but he holds on for the win with a 7.99 to a losing 8.46. Final pair then, it's Mark Hope in the left lane and number 1 qualifier Gary Bow in the right lane. So what tune has Gary's team selected this time out? He's in the lead right from the launch, recording a sedate for him, 7.20. Crew Chief Dave delighted, as is Dave Thomas.
I didn't expect to get this far. I just wanted a few personal bests this weekend, but in doing so I happened to win the race, so I'm very pleased. The bike is brilliant, it's running beautifully, it's been well tuned, so I'm really happy.
You wonder how far you can go, don't you now?
Yes, I do, but I never count my chickens before they hatch.
We're starting to get this thing actually figured out in the end. We still got a problem between first and second gear. I mean, if you look at the footage, you'll see I'm thrown forwards into the fairing. We've got a strange ignition thing going on, but we've sort of masked over that for the next run, hopefully, and then we'll get it sorted for the next race, and then you'll see hopefully 6s again.
Quarterfinals now, and the weather is very threatening. We've had rain delays already, but when it arrives properly, it's probably going to put an end to racing this weekend. So first out, it's Hungary's Daniel Donat-Lentz in the left lane, Gary Bow in the right lane, and a very big burnout for Gary there. It's close off the line. But Gary's not pulling ahead. He's got problems there. And Daniel takes the win with a 7.48 to Gary's 9.59. Well, the next pair were already completing their burnouts, but Gary's bike had to be pushed off the track. Something majorly wrong there, I think. So Robert Nilsson and Mogens Lund were shut down to let the engines cool. They will run at the end of the session. Rick Stubbins, Steve Venables. Steve's been improving run by run and he's now within 1/10 of Rick's time. It's even off the line and still nothing at half track. Oh, but Rick pulls away over the last eighth, taking the win with a 7.15 to the slowing 8.04 from Steve. Franklin Borg left lane, Dave Thomas right lane. Dave delighted to be winning rounds this weekend. Well, Franklin's out in front after 100 yards, but Dave's reeling him in, neck and neck at the top end. And Dave takes it by inches, 7.84 to Franklin's 7.79. Well done, Dave. He's through to the semi-finals here at the FIA FIM main event. Well, the final pair, Mogens and Robert, back out on track awaiting their third restart, but it wasn't to be. The site was hit by torrential rain, which never let up. So that was it for the weekend. So our next visit to Santa Pod will be the SPRC Summer Nationals, where we'll be back with the Domestic ACU Championship.